Along with the US bribery charge indictment order, the court documents of an arrest warrant against Gautam Adani were unsealed to disclose them to the international law enforcement officials. An indictment marks the start of legal proceedings and not a declaration of guilt. Following the billionaire industrialist's indictment on allegations of fraud and bribery, a warrant for his arrest was unsealed last month in a New York court. The court document states Judge Robert Levy ordered its unsealing on October 31st of 2024. Foreign law enforcement authorities were given access to the unsealed indictment and arrest warrant. Now, the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York filed a motion to have the warrant unsealed. So what is an indictment? An indictment marks the start of legal proceedings and not a declaration of guilt. A grand jury formally charges someone with a crime by issuing an indictment. This does not prove guilt, but it shows sufficient evidence exists to press charges. A grand jury heard the prosecution's case and reached a verdict that warranted the filing of charges against Gautam Adani for several violations of US federal law. The indictment contains crucial legal aspects such as the specific offences against Adani are laid forth in the detailed charges, summaries of the evidence that supports the charges, what US laws were allegedly broken. Following the filing of an indictment, the prosecutor requests that the court issue an arrest warrant. Arrest warrants are not issued by US courts unless there is belief that the accused would willingly show up for the court. Instead of a warrant, the court may send summons to the defendant if they are considered cooperative. The court may opt to issue summons instead of a warrant if it determines that Adani is complying or is not likely to escape. Adani's legal team could try to get this option negotiated. The accused's whereabouts determine the arrest procedure. Things get trickier when the defendant is outside of the US. The US authorities then have two options. Either they utilize diplomatic channels to commence extradition, which would need assistance from the Indian government under the US-India extradition treaty, or they could request an Interpol red notice, which would notify law enforcement globally. Now, to avoid any potential leaks, it is common practice to first seal indictments involving foreign persons like Adani. The United States' ability to prosecute Adani hinges on his extradition. US courts can only hear cases involving crimes committed within the country or against US residents. Both the United States and India must recognize the alleged crime as illegal for extradition to proceed. Beyond that, the United States needs to provide the Indian government with enough proof. After that, the Indian government would look at the request through the lens of Indian law and the treaty's provisions. Finally, Indian courts may be asked to hold hearings to determine if evidence warrants extradition. Following his arrest or voluntary appearance, Adani would be taken through the official court procedure of arraignment, during which the accusations against him are read out, and he is asked to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. At trial, if the case goes forward, the prosecution will have the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. For example, if the accusations are political, there are human rights concerns, or there isn't enough proof, extradition might be prohibited. Now, in response to the indictment and media reports on the charges, Adani Group denied the allegations and called them baseless in a mandatory stock exchange filing. The statement also said, and I'm quoting, "There are no allegations made against the company." For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.